Okay, so we've already talked about amnesia previously, so let's just imagine for a moment. You are a human guy, and you are a big fan of Frictional's massive hit Amnesia Darkness Descendum. What's next, pray tell? Well, I'll tell you what's next, an explosion of the entire horror genre. But for Frictional specifically, well, we all know what came next. Amnesia, a machine. Justine. Give me a sec, I might need to revise my script. Frictional actually promised if Dark Descent reached 2,000 pre-orders before the end of May 2010, DLC would be released. It was reached, likely due to the success for Number Overture in a Humble Bundle. They added DLC. Developer commentary. Woo! Yeah, not that exciting. Justine was actually released in 2011 as part of the Portal 2 ARG. Now, I haven't played Portal 2, but I do know of the ARG. I won't get into it, but essentially a bunch of other games were basically just used as guinea pigs for Valve advertising. Hell, if you 100% Justine, you actually get given a message from Aperture, the fictional company from the Portal games. Upon release, Justine was met by the exceptional response of... yeah, no one really cared, except Amnesia fans. In fact, even nowadays a bunch of people really just don't talk about these games. So how about we do that just now? Okay, so you might want to sit down for this one. In Justine, you play as Justine. Justine has been trapped in a cell by Justine in the past because Justine wanted to see what would happen if Justine would do when Justine gets trapped, as part of an experiment that was done by Justine. Did I mention you play as Justine? Okay, yes, so keeping with the series name and tradition, you do indeed have amnesia, shocker. But this time, it was on purpose for a study. Essentially, Justine is a crazy evil bitch who traps men and does experiments on them, with her unending charm and wit. However, she also wants, or wanted, to expand her horizons. So, what else? She decided to trap herself in the experiment, recordings of herself from the past, and then take the amnesia potion to remember nothing. As for how she got the amnesia potion, according to the wiki, it's made out of lithium. Source? Trust me, bro. Justine as a game is basically about morality and choices. It's actually very similar in premise to the early Saw movies, whether intentional or not. Essentially, you go through this whole ordeal, coming into contact with various other people and traps. You get to decide whether to let them free, or just move on and let them die, but we'll get to that later. As for lore and story, Justine essentially has crazy mummy issues. Not only did her mother die at childbirth, but her father was so obsessed with science and other experiments that it essentially took a massive toll on both his and her mental states. This causes Justine to go increasingly unstable from isolation. But it's okay, because he decided to stop his tests and fix their relationship. But then she stabbed him with a fucking soapstone.
Father never knew me. He thought he did, but then he was frightened. And nothing was ever the same again. I can still see him, lying there on the floor. He looked so surprised. The star-shaped soapstone stained by his blood fell to the floor with a sonorous thud. Blame me not, for I was but a child. With careful ambition, I dared to smile.
So it didn't quite go as planned. She ends up taking over his chamber and turns it into a torture chamber, the cabinet of whatever, if you will, simply for her own sadistic pleasure. She would even put these tests on herself after a bit of the old amnesia potion, of course, in order to see what she would have done without knowledge of her circumstances. Also, if you haven't figured it out, yes, the game does take place in one of those tests. On an unrelated note, she had 3 different suitors, all of which were madly in love with her. With that being said, Justine is a bit of a sociopath and didn't really care. It's okay though, because she could use them for her torture chamber. Life is a wonderful thing. She would end up pitting them against each other, where they would madly die for her love. Because, I mean, it's France, but those people are fucked up. Later on, she would put them into a dungeon, quite literally blinding them after an obsession she formed with her own mother's beauty, being described by her father as blinding. This is actually why all of the enemies in Justine can't see you and rely entirely on sound, which is a bit of a mindfuck in comparison to the main game. Speaking of which, what do the suitors look like? Jeez! Motherfuckers be like, I can fix her. Motherfucker, you're gonna be one real around your neck for the rest of your life. There is more lore, but none of it's that interesting. She kidnaps a bunch of people, puts them in traps, go save them. Or obviously you could just not save them. It wouldn't be the first time. As for gameplay, it's the exact same. I have nothing else to say. As a DLC, there's really nothing to talk about other than scenarios and puzzles. As for puzzles, it's quite lackluster, frankly.
On this next piece, you should be looking for some divine inspiration. Time to delve into your spiritual side. What do you see? Is the man begging for mercy, or is he being blessed? Perhaps both.
There's a pretty good puzzle where you have to find the correct slides and put it in a projector to get a combination. There's also a really shit one where clearly Thomas Grip had been playing too much Deus Ex, because the solution is literally just to stack some boxes and jump over. What the fuck? Monster. As earlier mentioned, Justine only has one enemy, the Suitor. Yes, there are technically 3 unique, but they all look the exact damn same. The only defining part of them is probably this one line of dialogue near the start of the game.
I will kill you, you cunt!
Okay, it's hard to hear, but Frictional don't generally touch cussing in their games, so to hear a character drop a cunt is wild. As mentioned earlier, they are blind, which will make your gameplay more focused on sound, especially in this bloody sphincter tightening scene set in a body of water with a time limit, resulting in trying to solve puzzles, escape quickly, and also not make sound at the same time. The only other thing really worth mentioning is that this game actually has permadeath. Upon your first time opening it, it acts as if this is some kind of massive thing, but it's so short and easy that I didn't even notice. If you know what you're doing, this game can genuinely be 20 minutes. Now, for an Amnesia game, obviously we have to talk about the endings, because there are 3 of them, and they're all the damn same. They just have different voiceover, and they're all really boring. Part 4, soundtrack. I mean, soundtrack? Yeah, Justine does have a unique OST, but I didn't even realise. It's very similar. The Suitor theme is quite good, and the main theme is nice. This concludes the section on Justine's OST. Wow, what a video. This must be like 5 minutes? You know, I really thought I'd have more to say on Justine, but writing out this script, it kind of put into perspective just how little there actually is going on here. You can no joke speedrun this game in the time it took me to write that OST section. But, in order to do a true retrospective on Amnesia, I can't just not talk about it, but it frankly isn't unique enough to talk about on its own. Who knows, maybe I'll combine these videos into a mega one at some point and delist these, but until they're all good, you bet they're coming out separately. The Machine for Pigs video might even be good!